Hello, my name is Belle Lewis, and a single project I would like to reflect on, my favorite project out of them all, I might add, is the Museum of X project in my Intro to Graphic Design class. From day one of reading over the syllabus and finding out what all the project entailed, I was already coming up with ideas. What if I did something about music? Cats, though, admittedly that one was a little bit overdone, or so I heard. And then I thought, what about horror movies? I love horror movies. And thus, the Museum of Horror began. I wrote down everything I could possibly want to include, going into exhibit categories long before the project was even assigned, and figuring out what would fit and what wouldn't. This project was my baby, and I dedicated days of researching and looking for images for my museum, basically tore my house apart to find movies that my father and I owned about horror, related to horror, so on and so forth, and scouring the great internet for information. In a long and thought out, detailed series of spreadsheets, I noted the name of the film, any alternative film, the director, the year it was released, the subgenre of horror, and what region it was produced in. Then added all this information to my website, while extending the information needed within the brief just for the images alone. Overall, I dedicated almost 300 images into the creation of my website, making sure every single detail about horror was encompassed, no matter how small. There were many nights I stayed up adding and adding and adding, making sure everything was in its rightful place and giving you all the info you could ever ask for in a short, brief, and concise manner. One other aspect of this project, aside from the level research I dedicated to it, was the logo and the branding. I already had a very basic idea of color scheme and what I wanted to do, though I was a little bit thrown off because I could not find a font that fit the overall brand. Black glitter at one point was a thought. It was a staple for gothic horror, but ended up not really working out because, it looked a little cheesy. And then fonts you found on the internet, that said horror, scary, gore, etc. It just too cheesy and just did not echo the sophisticated vibes I was trying to go for with this museum. I wanted it clean. I wanted it very just not perfect, but perfect. And very nostalgic all at the same time. That's when Active Grotesque came to my rescue and became the main font choice of my brand. I had to give this project my all because it is something so precious in my life. I adore horror, and I knew if I didn't give my 100%, it would not be a project that I would be satisfied with. And the overall thing about it is I love it. It's a project that screams me, and I'm beyond proud of this project. One day, I hope that maybe, just maybe, I would be able to make this museum into a reality. Thank you.